We begin with a story we've been keeping an eye on for months now. An alarming spike in sober living homes recruiting, even kidnapping tribal members.
And these homes are preying on vulnerable people with addiction issues. A packed house at Memorial Hall at Steel Indian School Park. The event held by the Navajo Nation and the Phoenix Indian Center. Navajo leaders launching Operation Rainbow Bridge. It's an initiative to help people who are displaced by the fraudulent sober living schemes. More than 100 providers are accused of targeting Native Americans and ripping off Arizona's Medicaid program.
So tonight we wanted to just introduce Operation Rainbow Bridge to the public, and in particular the Navajo people, and especially our displaced relatives, to fill those gaps and make sure that we're creating a safety net for our people, catching them where they are and then safely transporting them.
The goal is to move displaced residents back home or to a facility that will actually meet their needs. Last week, Arizona Governor Katie Hobbs and Attorney General Chris Mays announced a crackdown on phony sober living homes. And Attorney General Mays is calling this a game of whack-a-mole.
And one Mesa community has had enough at a new condo complex where police have repeatedly been called. Fox 10 investigator Justin Lum, who's been on top of this story for months, he joins us live in the studio with the latest on the investigation.
And John, Ellen, residents who live in the area of Baseline and Wrecker Roads are fed up just months after the opening of what appeared to be a luxury-style townhome complex. They believe the sober living scheme is now on their doorstep, exposing a lack of regulation and oversight.
Entice them with drugs to stay in there, alcohol, methamphetamine.
They're allowed and sometimes encouraged to continue using drugs and alcohol. Often, they're not allowed to leave the facility or contact relatives.
I don't think it is too much to say that this is one of the biggest scandals in the history of the state of Arizona when it comes to our government.
1 week ago, Arizona's governor and attorney general announced the suspension of payments to more than 100 Medicaid providers accused of exploiting the system known as Access, fraudulently billing the American Indian Health Plan for hundreds of millions of dollars. But is it too late to stop the bad actors promising treatment to indigenous people from reservation to reservation, instead trafficking them to homes and motels only to keep them intoxicated while the checks roll in?
Almost any time of the day, you will see multiple people out drinking, smoking, loud.
This resident wants to remain anonymous for safety reasons, and we'll call her Crystal. She lives next to the canal on Baseline condos. Crystal says since the community opened just months ago, there's been constant activity of alcohol and drug abuse outside.
We had called the cops a couple times of people in the gutter passed out, or we had thought dead.
For Crystal and her neighbors, it's no longer a shock to see empty bottles of liquor left by the canal. And she says Mesa police are here routinely. So we asked MPD for the numbers. As of May 21st, police have responded to canal on Baseline more than 150 times for various calls for service since November of 2022, an average of 22 calls per month.
The other day, our neighbor went through and was talking to them, and they said that they were in an experiment.
Can you give us any other description besides a white male?
Between 3 specific units we'll call X, Y, and Z, Mesa PD has responded nearly 30 times for issues ranging from aggravated assault to family fights and suicide. Now this flyer is being handed out to residents impacted, citing heavy police presence, alleged break-ins, public intoxication, and vandalism, asking community members to call out city officials.
It's crazy that it's happening and that nothing's being done to stop it.
The city of Mesa sent out a statement that says in part, quote, Mesa is actively investigating resident complaints about alleged sober living homes through a multi-department approach involving police, code, and planning. The city has been providing information to the state to help stop behavioral health care fraud and to help ensure Mesa operators abide by state laws and regulations. Fox 10 Investigates looked into who owns several of the condo units. We learned a couple dozen are owned by Samir Holdings Incorporated. In an email, Samir Sani, managing member of the company, tells us the complex is not operating as a sober living home or engaging in illegal activities. He says the condos are in compliance with city codes, but there are units leased for behavioral health clinics. Salani tells Fox 10 a majority of the calls for service are not serious, and a number of them are attributed to 7 units that have been evicted over the last few months.
Wow.
Again, the city is investigating what the root of the alleged activity is. We've also reached out to the Department of Health Services about this location. A spokesperson with DHS says they can't comment due to the ongoing investigation.
It seems through your reporting that the best way to figure out what's going on is coming from the residents calling authorities and saying, there's something amiss here.
Exactly. We wouldn't know about these issues if not for concerned residents really see something, say something, and now the state is saying if you think that something is wrong, there are resources, there's a complaint form on the Attorney General's website as well as the Department of Health. So there are definitely ways to complain about what's happening and see if law enforcement will figure it out.
And a hotline now,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, 211, press 7. That is for tribal members specifically who have been displaced and they need resources. That was mentioned in the town hall tonight because really they are the ones being preyed on and taken advantage of.
Yeah, for Chris Mays to say that this is the biggest scandal in our state's history, that says a lot.
Yeah, and we hope to speak to her soon about what's going on across the state because this is just one community that we're talking about and it's real early. We are going to keep on top of Mesa PD and the city to see what they learn.
There's tremendous money in this.
Exactly.
Right? Okay. Justin Lum tonight. By the way, if you've got a tip for our team, scan the QR code on your screen or you can email us at fox10investigates@fox.com.
A Fox 10 News alert. Phoenix police say that they do have a suspect in custody accused of shooting a DPS trooper in North Phoenix earlier today.
This followed a short standoff in Glendale near 67th Avenue and Olive. Sky Fox was overhead as we could see an explosion followed by smoke at an apartment complex. You see it there. Officers surrounded, SWAT teams surrounded. Investigators say they quickly identified the suspect and it led them to this apartment complex.
And our camera was there, also recording a man being loaded into an ambulance. Police say that he was treated for injuries he suffered during the shooting with DPS. And you can also see here in this video a large group of police and law enforcement, the SWAT team on hand. They were all in the area when it happened. We expect to learn more about the suspect when he's released from the hospital and officially booked into jail.
This arrest coming hours after the officer-involved shooting unfolded near 19th Avenue in Mohawk, close to the 101 freeway.
And Fox 10's Lindsay Regis is there. She joins us live tonight with more. Lindsay.
Still a heavy police presence tonight. Now, we are still trying to piece together just how this started. We spoke with the witness who says she was in the middle of that gunfire.
I saw the gun in the guy's hand, and I could hear the pops. And at that point, I'm just like, I got to get out of line.
Jennifer Ish from Chandler was in Phoenix for work when the unexpected happened. While driving near North 19th Avenue in the 101 freeway, she witnessed a shootout with a DPS trooper and another man.
At some point, a gun got drawn. I saw the guy that was being chased by the police officer kind of stumble a little bit, and then he got back up. I thought the police officer was going to catch him and tackle him, and then at some point, they went into the gravel and guns were drawn. At that point, I just wanted to get away.
An employee at a nearby business heard that gunfire. One bullet hit their window.
I heard the pop of the glass, and that was it. And then right after that, my security guard that watches the parking lot called me and told me that there was a bunch of police here and they were taking a gentleman away.
The gentleman he's referring to is the DPS trooper who was taken to Honor Health Deer Valley. DPS says the trooper's condition is stable. As for the suspect involved in this shooting, witnesses say
at that point the guy got up and started walking in the white car that I thought was going to cut him off. Instead, the guy got in his car and the white car drove off.
Yeah, the suspect was taken to the hospital. Police say his name will not be released until he is booked into jail. Reporting live, Lindsay Regis, Fox 10 News.
Lindsay, thanks. We'll continue to follow this story, and as we get more details, we'll certainly pass it along to you. You can go to Fox 10 Phoenix for the very latest. We will update you throughout the newscast and online as well.
We have a Fox 10 News alert for you. The man accused of randomly seeking out and killing a hiker on a hiking trail in North Phoenix last month, pleads not guilty to first-degree murder charges.
So this happened just moments ago here. Zion Teasley appeared in court. Within the past 30 minutes, a judge ordered that his face could not be shown on TV after his attorneys argued that he feared for his safety. 22-year-old Teasley charged in the murder of Lauren Heike, her body found April 29th, just outside of a neighborhood near 65th Street and Mayo Boulevard. Court documents show she had been stabbed 15 times. Investigators say DNA from Heike's shoe matched Teasley, who had previously spent time in prison. He reportedly did not know the victim, and the motive for the killing is not clear.
We're hearing from an alternate juror in the Lori Vallow trial. Just a week ago in Idaho, the former Valley mom was found guilty of murder in the deaths of her 2 kids and conspiracy to kill the wife of her lover and now husband.
Fox 10 investigator Justin Lum spoke to the juror about the experience that she will never forget. He joins us live now with more. Justin.
And John, Christina, you can imagine about 7 weeks ago, these jurors, 18 of them, could not predict what they would see and hear inside the courtroom. Courtroom 400 in Boise, Idaho. They met the so-called doomsday mom, Lori Vallow, and watched her nearly every day as the state brought massive evidence in the triple murder case.
I was really hoping it wasn't my number.
After nearly 5 weeks of hearing testimonies from 60 different witnesses, Tiffany, or Juror 17, was randomly chosen to be an alternate, still mentally and emotionally invested in the case of Lori Vallow, who is now a convicted murderer. Was there a testimony that stood out to you, and by who?
Probably the more emotional testimonies that stood out to me was her son Colby and her sister, just listening to them talking to her in jail and how emotional they were, and she's destroyed so much around her.
For Tiffany, the most difficult part was seeing graphic photos of Lori's children, JJ and Tylee, after their bodies were found buried in Chad Daybell's backyard.
And I started crying when they brought in the tissues, because I'm like, I knew immediately when they brought in the tissues and the plastic bags that they were going to show the pictures.
JJ was wrapped in plastic and duct tape. Tylee's remains burned and unrecognizable.
She was done such a disservice that the fact that they just didn't have very much evidence for her, you know, I just can't. I still can't. This is going to affect me for the rest of my life, thinking about that.
Thinking through the religious beliefs, prosecutors say Lori shared with her husband about doomsday and dark spirits to justify murder. Tiffany recalls seeing wedding photos of Lori and Chad in Hawaii.
That truly showed what a monster this woman is.
And she understands why the defense pinned the blame on Chad in closing arguments after not calling one witness.
I thought to myself, geez, you know, that should have come a long time ago. You know, that should have been maybe your defense all along.
Do you think you will ever personally experience something like this in society ever again?
I don't, and I hope not.
And we also talked about how Tiffany would decide on all counts on the verdict form, specifically the charge of conspiracy to commit the murder of Tammy Daybell. To see the full interview, head to our Fox 10 Phoenix YouTube channel or our website, fox10phoenix.com/Vallow. Live in the studio, Justin Lum, Fox 10 News.
Also new this morning, a man taken into custody at the Knights Inn motel. Here he is. You can see him in handcuffs. I-17 and McDowell officers responded to a call of a possible kidnapping around 12:30 this morning. A female told officers she was taken by a man who was still inside the room. Officers initially tried to get him to come out, but he refused. A special assignments unit responded and was able to clear the room. The investigation continues, and we'll bring you new details as we receive them.